Coming up on this week's show, we talk about Chris Chibnall trying to find a replacement for Doctor Who showrunner. Jodie Whittaker talks about what it's like leaving Doctor Who, and also a lot of news on the first 2 episodes of Doctor Who Series 13.
I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Kasterborous.
I hope the ears are a bit less conspicuous this time.
You might be a doctor, but I am.
I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you expect.
Absolutely fantastic.
All of time and space, everything that ever happened or ever will. Where do you want to start?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bigger on the Inside, the new Doctor Who Watch Long podcast. It's me, it's Tim Saxby. It looks like I'm hosting this one because, Wicklehow is here and he's not very well.
I'm a tad under the weather. You can probably hear it in my voice. It ain't what it is normally.
COVID?
No, definitely not COVID. Cold.
Did you do a lateral flow test before you came to my house?
I know it's cold, Tim. I've had a runny nose.
Anything else? Was anything else running?
My feet. I'm always running.
We've got a lot of Doctor Who news this week, Harry. Some of it I'm looking at here, I'm just going to skip because it's not that interesting. But let's start with Doctor Who Flux, because there's a lot of information come out about episode 1 and episode 2. Are you familiar?
We've got the titles right.
So episode 1 will be called The Halloween Apocalypse. So we got a little synopsis as well, if you're interested.
Yes, I am.
Would you like to, do you think you could read it in the voice of Ringo Starr?
No.
Oh, okay. On Halloween, all across the universe, terrifying forces are staring. From the Arctic Circle to deep space, an ancient evil is breaking free. And in present-day Liverpool, the life of Dan Lewis is about to change forever. Why is the Doctor on the trail for the fearsome Caverstrine? Karvanista.
Can I see the word?
There.
Karvanista.
And what is the Flux? Now, the Karvanista, Harry, is that big dog thing that looked like Chewbacca.
Oh, the Chewbacca guy.
Yeah, that's the...
So is that like a race?
I don't know.
We'll find out on Halloween.
It looks like he's some sort of hunter, though, from what I've seen. Have you seen the promo picture?
Yes, I
of
have.
Dan in a cage?
I've not seen him in the cage. I saw the one of Dan like this.
Oh, yeah. for the record, Harry did like a Fonz.
Yeah, like there's like a group of people and Dan's like, hey, it's me.
Yeah, it's me. Good old John Bishop. Did you see the clip that got released as well?
There's been a clip released?
Yeah, I'll show you. It's quite good. It's actually very funny. But it's not very funny. It's humorous.
I may or may not chuckle.
Tim is now searching for the clip. It's called First Look Clip. It's a 1 minute, 16 seconds long.
Don't be throwing eggs at my house.
There you go, Harry. What did you think to that little clip that they decided to release on the One show?
It did make me smile and release air from my nose.
It's making me look forward to John Bishop in it, though, because I won't lie, I was slightly apprehensive about him.
Yeah.
But he does seem like he's going to be a good, fun character.
Yeah, I have no idea how he's going to actually fit into things.
No, but it looks like it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm on board.
So that's
whatever it is.
Yeah, that's the Halloween Apocalypse. What are your thoughts on the title?
It's
a cool title.
It's a very bold title, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it is. I think this is the first time we've had an explicitly Halloween episode from Doctor Who, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. I believe we've seen some stills. Am I correct in saying that the Weeping Angels?
Yes. Well, this is what I was going to talk about, because last night at midnight, they released 4 photographs. One was of Jodie going, oh, like doing a little prayer.
Yeah.
And then there was one of the TARDIS exploding. I think one might have been of the dog. And another one was of a woman with a weeping angel behind her. I didn't know they were going to be in that episode.
Well, apparently they are. I feel like it won't be Weeping Angel centric. I feel like there might be maybe an all-star cast of like teasing what's to come this series.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah. So you're going to be watching it Halloween night?
Well, yeah, this is what I was going to say. Because I was going to save this, but I'll say it now in front of you and the listeners. Is on Sunday when it airs. Myself and Harrison, who also do the podcast, we're hoping, fingers crossed, to do a YouTube live stream where you can watch us watching Doctor Who.
I'm working Halloween.
That's why you were asked.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, it wasn't a direct application for you to watch us. I was talking to the listeners.
Oh,
Perhaps if you're watching
I thought-
Doctor Who on your own and you want to watch it with other people, put us on in the background and we'll watch it with you. We'll say what we think and have a chat.
oh, cool. And then you like upload that onto the
Yeah, I
channel?
think so, yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of what we'll do until
We forget.
we do the watch along.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
if you want to come for episode 2, which is called The War of the Sontarans.
Yes, we know that the Sontarans will definitely be the focus of episode 2.
And that one looks very good. It looks like it's some sort of civil war between actual human being people and Sontarans.
Sontarans.
Yeah, that's what my mum calls them. No matter how it sounds like correct, Sontarans.
It's actually Sontarans.
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah.
So we're both wrong.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I like the new design. We don't know much about the episode.
They look hella cool.
They look...
They look hella cool.
Okay, cool.
Oh, hello there. You've caught me in my local public library. I was just catching up on some of the mail and feedback we've been getting from some of our listeners. Let me read this one to you. You guys are great to listen to. Love this reaction. Can't wait for RTD2. That's from James. We always love getting your mail, so keep sending it across in the comments, Twitter, and on Instagram, or even on our email.
They do be dressing.
Yeah, and it looks good. And I saw a lot of debate online of people saying, are they still going to go Sonta Ha?
Is that's from the Russell?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, dude. The Cybermen don't still go delete.
They don't, do they? And
No.
I can't work out if the Cybermen used to say delete in the classic.
I don't think they did. I believe Russell introduced delete as kind of an alternative to exterminate. I feel like the Daleks have exterminate, so the Cybermen have delete, and the Sontarans have Sontar Ha.
What do the Weeping Angels have?
Woo!
It says the Weeping Angels. Watch it, motherfuckers.
There's a for Chibnall to the side.
Sorry?
That's up for Chibnall to the
That
side.
is it. What if he does make him speak? Talking of Chris Chibnall, maybe not. He's talked about the new monsters that are coming in this series of Doctor Who.
The Ravagers.
He says, the angels are back. Oh, this is Mandip Gill. The angels are back. And how's Mandip Gill speaking on a Zoom to assembled press. Gill and John Bishop, who respectively play companions Yaz and Dan, swap their memories of filming with the angels. Trying not to blink in the freezing cold was so difficult, wasn't it? Gill asked Bishop, who jokes about the hardship of keeping his eyes open with tears streaming down his face.
I mean, they can cut. They don't have to keep their eyes open the whole time they're on set. Like, surely, how long are they holding the camera on these guys? So they have to have their eyes open for the whole thing.
That would be, yeah. Either of these creatures. Hang on, I'm just skipping through here to find some cool Chibnall quotes. A particular character that I think is a bit more psychologically terrifying for the Doctor. Looking to Jodie Whittaker for confirmation. He receives a nod. Perhaps that character is involved in a Series 13 plotline that forces the Doctor, quote, to face up to secrets from her own past as teased in promotional material. I don't know which other monsters we're allowed to say, Whittaker asked Chibnall, who jokingly replied, it's my last series, Jodie. I don't care. That's how he comes up with the ideas for creatures. Chibnall explained, sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's an idea about something that's going to be threatening to the Doctor or scary to kids. And sometimes, by the looks of it, it's RuPaul's Drag Race and Star Wars. And then there's a couple of hyperlinks there.
Basically, like, Chibnall likes watching Star Wars and RuPaul late at night, and he falls asleep and has scary dreams. Or maybe Moffat and Russell hide under his bed, and Moffat whispers things like, "What if coat hangers were scary?"
Yeah, I've often tried to think up Doctor Who monsters, and to very little success.
No,
do you often think, how can you just make something scary?
I know, asking Moffat, that seems to be his whole thing.
He does. He just makes the everyday scary.
Well, he kind of thinks of like what scared you as kids, and he's like, how can I make that scary?
Vegetables.
Again? Ooh. Well, not that if in series 14, Stephen Moffat's going to pen the opposite episode, Wrath of the Broccoli Monster.
Jodie Whittaker has. Oh, do you want some more Chibnall news, or do you want some Whittaker news?
I feel like Chibnall news will get more clicks.
Okay, here he goes, talking about how difficult it was to find a new showrunner.
But it wasn't his job.
Well, we'll get to this, Harry. Chris Chibnall says it took longer than expected for him to leave Doctor Who. The baton has been passed back to Russell T Davies. It will all be changed for Doctor Who in the coming months, as Russell T Davies has been named showrunner for Doctor Who's 60th anniversary in 2023, and beyond, replacing current boss Chris Chibnall. Chibnall will exit alongside the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, and whilst we wait to find out who will be cast as the next Time Lord, Chibnall has been chatting to press, including RadioTimes.com, ahead of Series 13. As you'd expect, the subject of his departure came up, and it turns out he stuck around for longer than he thought he would. Here's a quote from Chibnall. It's taken longer than expected, if we're being honest. I've been throwing batons at people for about a year now, and finally someone picks it up, Chibnall said on the search for his replacement. We've had that conversation right at the start, and I hope you can see that the atmosphere is so team-orientated and so positive. It's a proper family atmosphere. The cast and crew are so close you wouldn't want to do it to other people, because you wouldn't want to do it to other, you wouldn't want to do it with other people, just because it's been our own little discreet show. And then the next version will be its own discreet show, just as Peter Capaldi's era was, and Matt Smith's era was, and David Tennant's was. Whilst the closet bell may sound on its may be sounding on his time in charge, Chibnall insists he has nothing but fond memories of his time in Doctor Who. I think it's interesting that it's taken a while to find a replacement. And also, when did Chibnall want to leave originally?
I find it weird that Chibnall kind of describes it as him having to pass the baton. He's the one trying to throw the office. Like he said, he was throwing the baton to people. Like he was extending a hand to people.
It's taken a lot of expensive, for being honest. I've been throwing batons at people for about a year now.
Yeah, he's been trying to pass it on to people, and people have been like, "Nah, I'm good, mate."
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Why do you think? I guess just because it's like the same reason that some people turn down the role of the Doctor. Like it's this huge institution, and there's a lot of pressure weighing on you, and it'll have a long-term. Well, I say it will have a long-term impact on your career, but honestly, after Doctor Who, Russell kind of went back to continuing to develop the sort of work he developed before.
Yeah, I also don't think it's a long time. It's not a show that takes up a large amount of time, but it's an intense amount of time, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like it becomes like a full commit. Like it becomes like your year-round job.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I know Moffat somehow managed to work Sherlock in on top of Doctor Who, but really Doctor Who is kind of like his full-time job for 6 years.
I saw a quote from Neil Gaiman, which basically when they asked him if he was going to be showrunner, he just says he doesn't have enough time to write an episode of Doctor Who, never mind.
Yeah, because he's doing Good Omens, isn't he?
The good old men, or whatever that show's called.
Good men.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that because originally when they did that New York Comic Con panel, Chibnall said it wasn't up to him to find a replacement. It originally had been part of the BBC Wales department, Doctor Who, I think, and now it's BBC Drama.
I think so.
It changed department, which I think basically meant that what the impression that was given to the public was that meant it was no longer the job of the current showrunner to find a replacement. It was now the job of the BBC.
Right.
I wonder if it was Chibnall's job, but he couldn't find anybody, so that it was up to the BBC to therefore find somebody.
I wonder who Chibnall tried to pass it on to or offered it to.
I imagine some of his former writers of the series.
Within his series, like people like Maxine Alderton.
Yeah, people like that. Maybe pie in the sky ones like Neil Gaiman, people like that.
I imagine him like just going into like production offices of Channel 4 and BBC and like throwing batons at people. Like, take it.
Yeah. Whatever.
Jack forward, catch. And Jack forward like keeps his arms by his side.
Yeah.
I'm not picking that up. I don't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Jack Thorne does watch Doctor Who.
I wonder how much people turning it down was because they just don't have an interest in the show.
Because the 3 showrunners we've had have all been lifelong fans of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Russell, Moffat, and Chibnall all grew up loving Doctor Who. We
Yeah.
all think, well, we know that Moffat has said he thinks it's the best show ever.
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe one reason they've had to pass it back to Russell is because nobody is qualified enough in that sense. But then
I'm
you look
sure
at,
there
I was
are
going to say,
other
but then
fans.
you look at other writers of Doctor Who, like Chris Fatigue or whatever his name is, who would have been a great showrunner who wrote Kablam. And there are people writing for Doctor Who now who are diehard fans, and
Mark Gatiss would have probably not think twice about. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that it took a while to find somebody, and that it was actually up to the BBC to find a replacement rather than Chris.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely a switch over at some point. Do you want the last bit of news, which is Whittaker news?
Yeah, totally.
Doctor Who star Jodie Whittaker said it's right for her to leave. The show needs new energy. Doctor Who star Jodie Whittaker has spoken in detail for the first time about why she's leaving the show. The 13th Doctor actor shared the news recently that she will be departing Doctor Who along with current Chibnall. When Digital Spy and other media recently attended the series 13 press launch, Jodie acknowledged that she's always had the idea in mind of doing 3 seasons as the Doctor. We've been present in it, but you have to honour the show and honour everything, she said. There was this thing like, we want to do 3 seasons, but no one holds you to that. So there was always a conversation in terms of how long to stay. It was always fluid. But when you commit to that decision, I can't imagine it being written by someone else like this Doctor is Chris's Doctor for me. Oh, like this Doctor is Chris's Doctor. For me, it's right to go, but everyone comes up to you forever going, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and that's the absolute joy because it's such a pleasure.
What up, computer geeks? It's Tim here, and I'm currently sat in the tech hub of Bigger on the Inside. The guys and gals who work down here want me to tell you how you can contact the show anytime. You can do it by Instagram and Twitter. Just follow us by searching for @BiggerOnThePod. If that's not good enough for you, how about sending us an email? biggerontheinsidepod@gmail.com.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And as usual, Jodie says very lovely things.
Yeah. What do you think, though, about the thing of it's now like a common thing to do 3 seasons? Because
That's
I like
always
it, but
that's been a thing since Troughton. Troughton was the one who said do 3 years and leave.
But then you have like people like Tom Baker who does a bit more, and Colin Baker who doesn't do as many, and
those generally stuff like Tom and
I just worry it's going to become too formulatic.
Ulaic.
Yeah,
but it's been that way since the second Doctor. I feel like
you would have more stories and more episodes back then. It was just slightly long. I feel classic Who seasons feel longer than they currently are.
Although the amount of actual stories told within those are usually less because
exactly.
they're much longer stories.
Yeah. But I feel like
I'm sure didn't like Eccleston back in 2005 say that kind of like a series of Russell is pretty much the same length as 2 series of classic Who.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like if that's now going to be a rule, 3 and done, it takes away a lot of the excitement of a character's journey if you know you're only going to be with them for 3 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I know in 3 years' time they're going to leave and we're going to get somebody else. Whereas I like are they staying? Are they going? What's going to happen next? I quite like that. And I just feel like if you're going to do 3 and go, then it kind of limits the length of storytelling you can do.
The interesting thing for me, though, is that it doesn't feel like within New Who, at least, with the exception of Jodie and maybe Peter, it doesn't feel like any of the Doctors planned to stay for as long as they did.
Well, Jodie did. They said they were going
exactly.
to...
As with the, with the exception of Jodie and Peter, none of them seemed to plan that out.
Yeah.
Like Chris, made a decision to leave series 1 in mid-production.
Yeah.
Or near the end of production of the series. Like David wasn't sure whether or not he'd stay for series 5 until pretty late on. Matt Smith, we know at some point had plans to do series 8, but then dropped out after Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because there's a lot of it that is still very much in the hands of those actors' decisions. Like we know that, Jenna Coleman as Clara decided to leave, then stayed and leave, I'm sure at least twice. Yeah. And I feel like even though it's just kind of by happenstance been 3 years, that's still something that's very much in the actor's hands and how they feel. And I feel like if an actor playing a character feels like it's time for them to go, then it's probably the right call rather than draw it out unnecessarily.
Yeah. I just think I don't want it to become the same. Yeah, I think that's what I worry about with Doctor Who, is it becomes very samey, and I feel like the 3 seasons thing could become quite samey.
But isn't not in the same thing that, that every 3 series the show's going to go through a radical shift?
I like that, but there's 2 things that I would like. Is I don't want it to be the same, and I would really quite like to see an actor take on the role of the Doctor and see it through multiple showrunners. I would like to see an incarnation of the Doctor, say like the 14th Doctor starts with Russell, and for whatever reason Russell leaves, and then the 14th Doctor carries on with whoever becomes Russell's replacement. I would like to see how that would work.
Okay.
But yeah, I know.
I guess it's this whole thing now with the showrunner concept, that there seems to be a sort of, well, it doesn't feel intended by the showrunners. There's this almost sense of ownership that certain Doctors belong to someone. Like, we know, like, obviously, lots of people wrote for David Tennant's Doctor, and Stephen Moffat wrote for David Tennant's Doctor even after Russell left. But when we think of the 10th Doctor character, we think of the 10th Doctor as being Russell's Doctor.
Yeah. I see what you mean, yeah. Anything else, Harry?
I don't know, has Colin Baker had anything to say this week?
Not this week. He's kept his mouth shut. Because I told him. I said, Colin, you're taking up too much airtime on my podcast.
Oh, I quite enjoyed the Colin airtime.
But do you think we could get in touch with his agent and just get little 30-second video clips from Colin Baker?
I'm sure we actually could.
About what he's doing that week.
I bet we could. Honestly, we could. We could probably add in a little segment of a little cutaway. Like, I know, I was
30 seconds of Colin's thoughts.
I was listening the other week and I saw you edited in a little cutaway of you just reading a random comment.
Yeah, there would have been one this week.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't know which one it's going to be. All those comments are real.
Okay. I had no idea that you were editing those things in.
I'll tell you what I am going to add in. I'm going to tell you another little story that happened to me this week.
Oh.
Last week I told you about the Madness tribute band that ran over a motorcycle.
Yeah.
It's Elton John next week.
Elton John?
Young Elton John.
Elton John tribute?
Yeah.
As opposed to Elton John from the 80s.
the world.
Elton John from the past traveled forward through time.
Yeah. This week, Harry, I had an exciting week. I think I mentioned it last week. I had my first TV job.
Yes, he did.
I got to be a boom op and assistant camera operator on Dickinson's Real Deal.
Now that's what I call a TV gig.
Mm-hmm. I got to see the Duke himself, and
he's a Duke.
That's what he calls himself, the Duke.
I don't watch Dickinson's Real Deal.
I don't either.
I'm sorry.
I watched an episode before, so I knew what show I was working on. But I was chatting with the camera guy I was working with, a really nice guy called Cameron, and we were chatting about, because he works on the whole series, and we were talking about it, and I was asking, like, what's some stuff that's happened, and basically, he told me the story of, like, someone, on these antiques programs, what's the type of thing people bring in? Antiques. Someone brought in an Amazon Kindle boxed. I wanted to see how much they could get for it on Dickinson's Real Deal. I think it was a first generation one, so it was probably a collector's item.
I think my brother has a first generation iPad.
Well, get him on Dickinson's Real Deal. Yeah. I also pitched an idea to some of the dealers on the show.
Oh yeah.
Of Dickinson's Real Deal After Dark.
What's that?
Well, I noticed, right?
That's not like them selling, like, lewd objects.
Okay. So I got talking to you have on-screen dealers who are the people who put the money on the table, and you have off-screen dealers who basically look at your items and give you an indication of how much it's worth before
you go to the
you go on telly, basically. And I was chatting with some of these off-screen dealers, and I was saying, like, how are you always so polite? Because some people are bringing rubbish in that is not worth. Well, not rubbish. Rubbish is in a money standards. Like, it's not worth anything. Like, I've got a mug on my table here, and it's not worth anything. But say if that mug had been in my family for like 5 generations, it's worth something to the family, but it's not worth anything to anybody else. And you saw a lot of people like having like they're like crushing criticism as like this, their face slowly dropped. But then you would sort of like hear people like on set and stuff, and some of the dealers talking, going, why did they think that poster of David Bowie was going to be worth something? It's only 10 years old. You know what I mean? Like some really bizarre stuff. So I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could do like a show where you're just honest with people about like some of the stuff they brought in. And they said they've wanted to do it before. They've pitched the idea to ITV before, but the ITV won't let them do it. And also, someone 2 weeks ago brought in a foot-long metal penis onto Dickinson's Real Deal.
Like as like a statue?
Yeah, like a statue thing. They wanted to know how much it was. Well, obviously, they couldn't put it on the show.
Oh.
So I thought, like an After Dark Dickinson's Real Deal.
I don't know how many people would bring stuff in that criteria.
Well, apparently they get a lot.
Really, a lot.
Oh, I mean, you don't have to get a lot of lewd stuff, but if you were just honest with people, I think that would be quite funny.
Yeah.
Like someone bringing in their stamp collection, you just blow it all away. Yeah.
Dickinson's Real Deal unleashed.
Yeah.
I can't think of a.
I couldn't think of one. I was trying to think of one all day. But yeah, I pitched it to 3 different people on the set.
And none of them were.
Oh, they all said we want to do that show, but we're not allowed. So there you go.
Yeah. I'd watch that.
I'd watch it.
Would Dickinson still be there?
Oh yeah, it's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get to work directly with David Dickinson, but I heard him all day because I could hear him through my headphones. And he's a very funny man, and he says some funny things that obviously you can't put on daytime TV. So yeah.
So you reckon like he could carry that as well?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely. I'll tell you some stuff off there. But
so if anyone at ITV is listening,
this is a show people want.
Give Tim a bell.
Oh, the people who actually work on the show full time.
Well, yeah,
but I would like to be involved. I enjoyed it. It was a very, very fun day. How was your days?
My days? I wasn't at Dickinson's Real Deal.
I know, but just your days of the week. What was you doing on Saturday?
I was wasn't I went to pick up some suit trousers.
Why are you wearing a suit?
My graduation.
Oh, when's that?
Next month.
Are we all invited?
No. Are you my family?
No, I mean like we the listeners.
I think there might be a live stream.
Can I come and do the live stream and host it?
I don't think they have a host. I think it's actually just a video feed.
I would like to host it. I'd wear a Big Ronnie Inside t-shirt.
No, literally just the footages of the inside of like the place where the building, the ceremony takes place.
Oh, dear me. Harry, would you like to introduce the watch-along segment of the podcast?
Yeah, because honestly, this segment's getting a bit dead, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Waters of Mars.
No, Tim, it's Planet of the Dead.
Yeah.
I was even able to do the transition.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut it down, pop up!
Humans are better in one respect. You are better at subscribing. Seek, locate, subscribe.
What's the point in having you?
Do I feel like I'm on a Planet of Dead people right now, Harry?
Yeah, because we're watching Planet of the Dead. The Easter special.
The Easter special.
As we know, because David Tennant offers an Easter egg.
He does. What episode are we doing, Harry?
We just said the Planet of the Dead by Russell T Davies and Gareth Roberts.
As always, when we do a Gareth Roberts episode, disclaimer, we know he's a douche, but we got to say it. But we're doing every episode, and our OCD would go nuts if we didn't do it. Let's start at the start of the episode. London International Gallery. There's a cartoon like cat burglary. What did you think was going on?
I mean, what did I think was going on? I thought that we were being introduced to this kind of femme fatale character.
Do you think she went to London to go to Time Fracture but found out it was also cancelled, so she just went and robbed the gallery instead?
That's my headcanon now. Lady Christina wanted to go to Time Fracture, but it was closed.
Because of a bit of drizzle. Where is that building located? It's always.
My understanding is that it's underground somewhere.
Where underground? The Thames?
The subway? I don't know.
My question for you, Harry, is Lady Christina, she takes the mask off while still at the scene of the crime. What's all that about?
It's so we can get the reveal of her face, and it's sexy
Michelle
woman.
Ryan.
It's Michelle Ryan
from Corrie and maybe EastEnders or something.
Basically, Stephen Moffat was passing the door while it was being written and said, "Ooh, what if the person stealing it was a sexy woman? Wouldn't that be funny?"
Yeah. Should we just talk about the character of Lady Christina?
Yeah. I really try to be positive on this podcast and look for things. And there are things I like in this episode. Lady Christina is not one of them. And I know there are fans of Lady Christina. I know
it's not a bad performance. I
don't know if it works.
But it's the character. Michelle Ryan is great.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if
she plays the part really well, but I
think the problem is the part for me doesn't really fit within the world and the story. Like the other characters, the National Ensemble, all feels quite cohesive and part of Doctor Who. But Lady Christina feels like, this kind of femme fatale trope that's been lifted out of a different, less inspired story and dropped into Doctor Who, and it doesn't really fit, despite the insistence that her and the Doctor make a great team.
Yeah, that's what I hate. I don't understand the character. I just don't care. Like, why doesn't she? I feel like they've written Doctor dialogue and given it to her. Like, there's that whole thing where she gets on the bus and she's like, that lobster card thing. And it's like, it's an oyster card. I'm like, that's something the 10th Doctor would say, like, as a little part. Like, she's a human. She's from modern Earth. She's in London. She'll know what an oyster card is. I live in Hull and I know what an oyster card is.
I know what an oyster card is, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't get it.
The character doesn't work for me. It just feels out of place. I don't know. I don't want to make that the whole focus of the episode.
No,
I just need to get that off my chest. And I know there are fans of Lady Christina. I know that she's done Big Finish, and maybe Big Finish has done wonders. But I don't know. Like, of all the characters to give a spaceship to go off on adventures, like, why Lady Christina?
Can I just say, one of my biggest red flags in Doctor Who fans is when they say, yes, but blank was great on audio. That's not fucking good. Should have been good the first time.
I mean, I have to agree that, like, I'm not incentivized to go seek out further stuff if I wasn't too fond of their first introduction. I'd rather characters I really liked be given expansions initially. I'm not saying that you can't expand upon a character and be done really well. Like me, I've not listened to anything with the Doctor's daughter or Lady Christina in Big Finish.
But the Doctor's daughter, Jenny, had a good episode. That was a good character that you were...
I feel like there was more...
Nobody after this episode...
I feel like there was more going on with Jenny and more potential for expansion with kind of what that character was than Lady Christina.
Does the Lady Christina Big Finish stuff, do you think that... I can have a look in a minute, but do you think that follows her adventures after this?
I think so, because I'm pretty sure I've seen covered and it always is like, the flying red bus is there.
They Back to the Future the shit out of that bus, don't they, at the end? Just goes off and flies away.
Yeah.
Like you said, the Doctor says Happy Easter. That's nice. I like his introduction. You see his feet, you see his shoes walking under the bus, and you see him getting on the bus, and he says, Happy Easter! And then it's the introduction. I also like the fact that he quotes the Beach Boys when he says, we've got excitations. There's a lot of good David Tennant Doctor lines in this. A lot of the
he's having fun. Yes, it's a very fun story. And it's nice as a light story. Like, only one person really dies.
The bus driver.
Yeah. So it's just kind of a nice, it's a fun Easter Sunday bit of telly where the Doctor goes on an adventure and saves some people.
Yeah, there's also a really good cast in this. People who would definitely, become household names. Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Oh yes,
he's there, and Adam James from I May Destroy You. He's there as well. He plays the police officer trying to track down Lady Christina. Michelle Ryan as well, who just come from Merlin. It's a really good cast of people. What did you think about this ensemble cast? I think it works really well.
Yeah, I thought it was a good ensemble. Yeah, obviously, you've already said Christina's an outlier, but I like everyone else. And I like kind of the theme they kind of have going in it of kind of like everyone is important and everyone is worth something.
Yeah.
Especially, I really like the bit where they're all worrying and panicking. And David's like, when you're going home, where are you going on this bus? Why are you here? All of that matters. All that's equally valid and important. I'm going to get you back home and get you to do that.
Yeah.
And it is a genuine team effort, and they're all needed to get it home. And I think that's a really nice, uplifting message. You know?
Yeah. No, I think I've got a note about that somewhere. That I really like how he goes out of his way to relate to every single person on the bus. Like with Daniel's character, like when he finds out that he's chatting up this lady back home called Tish or Trish or whatever. He's like, oh, good man. He's like, suddenly goes from like this alien to this lad to this guy who wants to go to this couple's house to have chops and gravy, and it's great.
And that really is one of the best qualities of the 10th Doctor, that he is able to relate to people on a humanistic level that some doctors don't do, and that's part of their character. Like Matt Smith, he's an
alien, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very much an alien, whereas the 10th Doctor is a man of the people, and that's really endearing in situations like this.
I'm sorry, I got to go back to Lady Christina. I just remembered a bit that where I decided this character was annoying me, and it's when she does the speech on the bus, where she stands at the front of the bus and basically 10th Doctor's the 10th Doctor, where she's sort of like, so we need a leader, and then the 10th Doctor stands up and she's like, no, I'm the leader, and she stands up at the front of the bus and she's sort of like with her hands behind her back, being all cocky and sort of. Do you remember the scene?
Yeah, I remember the scene. Yeah, and it didn't work for me. Maybe it's one of those things, because it's happened to me before where, it happened with the girl in the fireplace, where just the whole story didn't click with me in a way it was. And maybe here it's just this character. Something about Lady Christina just does not click with me.
Yeah. Have you heard about the smashed up bus story?
What's that?
So obviously the bus is all smashed up. Yeah, it's not meant to be.
Oh.
It was originally, I think it's in Dubai where they filmed this episode.
Yeah.
And so they put a London bus on a ferry, on like a cargo ship, ships it off to Dubai. But when it was being taken off, one of the cargo, what do you call them, containers?
Yeah.
Smashed into the side of the bus and basically wrecked it.
Oh.
So they then had to
rewrite this.
Rewrite it, that, it's obviously been damaged. But then at the same time, they were filming with a lot of the crew and cast back in Cardiff with another bus.
Which is fine.
They then had to damage that bus to make it look like it was originally meant to be damaged.
Right.
But I think it works because it looks quite good all smashed up.
Yeah, it looks cool. And then like this flying smashed up bus. Because obviously the CGI render of the bus would then also need to be smashed up.
Yeah, I didn't think of that, yeah. What do you think to the sand planet?
It's a desert planet.
Yeah, cool.
It even has to say it has like multiple suns. Well,
yeah, it did, didn't it? I didn't pick up on that,
yeah.
We've pushed over the lady who can hear voices in her head.
Oh, yeah.
We'll save her till the end because she's kind of important.
Yeah, she is.
This is Doctor Who's 200th story.
Really?
Yeah, that's why it says 200 on the bus, little Easter egg.
Is that including classic?
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually episode, what do you call it, 55.
Of New Who.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
By the time Series 4 wrapped, it was 55 episodes. So this is either episode 55, depending on how they count Christmas specials and stuff.
Yeah.
The Doctor has a line where he says, "Human on buses always blaming me."
That's obviously a reference to Midnight, right? But that was a train?
Well, this is what I don't know, because I wrote it down, so I thought that's a reference to something. I couldn't work out what it was.
I thought it was a reference to Midnight, but I can't remember whether Midnight was a bus or a train or.
I think it was a train, yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have, because there's two train drivers at the front. Let me
have
I'm going to Google 10th.
The only thing I can think is it being a reference to Midnight, which would make sense, seeing as Russell wrote this episode, but.
Doctor Who bus. It's all just Planet of the Dead stuff. Well, there's a TARDIS wiki here for Bus Conductor, the greatest show in the galaxy.
Is this a classic episode?
Yeah. Shall I show you a picture of the Bus Conductor? Looks like a Kablam man.
It looks like a prototype Kablam man, yeah.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. The bus driver dies, we mentioned it.
Yeah.
Quite a cool death when he
Hmm.
comes through the other side.
Yeah, that's how I want to go.
Walking through a 4-mile portal.
Yeah, I want to go through like what do they call it, a warp gate hole.
Is that what they called it?
I can't remember.
Harry, this was the first episode of Doctor Who, so it's going to be shot in HD.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Well. I've always got a note here about how I love how Dr. Khan and everyone. What else did you love about this episode, Harry?
Actually quite like the unit stuff.
Yes, should we talk about Unit?
Yeah.
Probably something I always forget about this episode is Lee Evans as Malcolm.
Mm.
What an underrated character
Yeah,
that is.
he's really fun. Yeah,
He's
he kind
great.
of has like his own kind of little arc type of thing where he starts off idolizing the Doctor. I mean, he always idolizes the Doctor throughout the whole thing, but he kind of grows in
He's a
confidence in his own
fanboy, isn't
ability.
he?
Yeah, but then it gets to a point where he kind of like he grows in confidence of his own abilities and rises to responsibility.
Stands
And
up to Magumbo.
yeah, and he's also it's also a very funny performance.
Yeah, I also like the bit where Malcolm's like, "I've read all your files," and the Doctor's like, "Oh yeah, which is your favorite?" He's like, "Wait, no." Yeah, like loves these little fandoms that go.
Yeah, the Doctor likes stroking his own ego.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What did you think to the flies?
The flies, as in like the stingray thing.
The human flies, the people with the giant fly heads.
Oh, those.
Jeez.
Yeah. You know, decent design. I mean, I think like a lot of things in this episode, it's nothing we haven't seen.
I think
before.
it's really annoying that they don't speak.
Yeah.
Because the TARDIS isn't there, it's not translated.
Yeah, and there's a whole thing that the line that the Doctor understands every language, which I think.
What's the point of him having the TARDIS translator?
Well, the thing is, I don't think people who are like huge continuity buffs are gonna hate that line.
Yeah. Because there will be times where surely he's met aliens and not know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I also hate that don't speak because it's just like the Doctor going, "Oh, so you're saying this? Oh, okay, so that means I must do this." There's a lot of... Have you ever been to Disneyland Paris?
No, I have not.
Okay, if you go see the firework display from when I last was there about 10 years ago, on one side they have Wendy, the other side they have Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Wendy speaks French, Peter Pan speaks English. Wendy says something in French, Peter Pan goes, "Oh, that's a great idea, Wendy. I totally should fly above the castle and do this cool stunt." And then he does it.
Why is Peter the English-speaking one and Wendy the French one?
Even though she lives in England.
Yeah, when like Neverland, people could speak any language in Neverland, but Wendy is from London, England.
Yeah, I don't know. Taking it with Walt.
Ring, ring. Hello, Walter Disney. Yes, I take issue with your fireworks show at Disneyland Paris that I've never seen from 5 years ago.
Do you know what else I hate in this episode?
Yeah.
It's a bit where that woman, the female character, something Whittaker. This is Whittaker.
Oh, yes, her.
When she's about to start the bus and she goes, "Hold tight, ding ding." And she did it, and I was like, why she said that? You know what, nobody else is making jokes. She was a wreck a minute ago, and now she's like, "Oh, I'm going to drive a bus."
Oh, it's Easter Sunday.
This episode does nothing for women drivers because she also uses all the petrol up whilst it's stationary.
They insist it's not her fault.
But it totally is.
Are you blaming her?
Yeah. Wouldn't you? If I was there, I'd be going nuts.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
You're an idiot. Of course you're going to use up all the petrol. It's not moving, div. Now we're stuck here. We're fucked.
All right, Tim, you weren't actually there.
That's just how much I've loved this episode, how merciful I got. Jeez. Let's go back to Unit. I like the fact that in this RTD era, the Unit are the same crew who come back every time. We saw Magumbo in, I love that name, Magumbo. We saw her in 10 Left. And now she's back in this episode as well.
How do you feel about the fact that when we get to the Moffat era, it's again a consistent unit team, but it's a completely different unit team? Do you wish that they'd carried the same unit team over?
I suppose it makes sense in some regards because they would evolve. But I feel like it's almost like a completely different thing. Like Kate Stewart comes out of nowhere, Osgood comes out of nowhere. That said, in day, the Dr. Malcolm gets a name drop.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he does. So he's still there. So there's little things like that. But yeah, I feel like Magumbo, that's like a key character that not everybody does name, but people recognise her.
Yeah, totally.
So why not carry her over and kill her?
Kill her.
Yeah, I feel like you could have done that. Would have been a cool way of sort of.
Yeah, someone throw a
people.
cube at him, power 3.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good. Yeah, because that's when Kate's introduced, isn't it? Yeah. I like the bit where the Doctor's held up by an answering machine, where it's like, hold one.
And again, so that's the thing of like, he's one of those regular people who know how phones work to get him through.
Yep.
If that hadn't happened, they would have died.
Yeah. One of the flies die, don't they? The fly people, they get crushed. One gets eaten and another one gets crushed.
Oh, yeah. But no humans died, so it's okay.
Apart from the bus driver. Have you seen bus drivers like people?
I don't know. I don't trust them. What are they hiding under their bus driving caps? You know what I'm saying?
With a load of tickets.
No, I'm fine. I find. Remember the whole thing like a few years ago where like thanking the bus driver became like a big fad?
Well, we've got a friend who is a bus driver.
Oh yeah. I've never ridden on his bus.
And he will often just say, "Thanks, driver," because apparently that's what people say to him. Here's a story. I won't say his name, but it's nothing horrible about him. It's at Christmas. It would have been Christmas just gone, like peak COVID time. Someone comes up to him. She's wearing a face mask. He's wearing his face mask. They go, "Here you go, Merry Christmas." I put a Mr. Kipling slice on the thing, on like his ticket thing. But it's unboxed. It's just a piece of cake. It's not in a wrapper. It's just a slab of cake.
Right.
Bit weird, isn't it?
How do you take that?
I think he said thank you and just put it to a side and then maybe fed it to a pigeon or something, I imagine. Yeah. I've noticed that the Gareth Roberts episodes we're getting, since Shakespeare's Code was good, but they seem to be getting worse. Unicorn and the Wasp wasn't very good. This one isn't very good. James Corden's in the next ones. And then there's the one that I don't really remember called The Caretaker.
I remember The Caretaker.
What do you think's going on here? Do you think he's just declining in writing, or has other writers' work started to surpass him?
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to make it to Gareth Roberts.
Of course, no, of course not. I'm just talking about the writing. You know.
I mean, I feel like Shakespeare Code was kind of using a tried and tested formula, and there's a lot to bank on with William Shakespeare.
Twice, yeah.
Agatha Christie, there's slightly less to draw from compared to William Shakespeare. This, I feel like the main issues I had with this is the same issues I have with other stories that we talk about, such as 42, where there's a lot of ideas in here that, you know, are fine and tried, tested, and work, but I've seen it done before and seen it done better.
Yeah.
Like even the title is kind of an amalgam of Impossible Planets and Forest of the Dead. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do,
It kind of, outside of, you know, the image of the flying bus, there's not a great deal to make this episode stand up in its own right. Well, that, and I guess Lady Christina, which you've already said we aren't a huge fan of.
I like the joke where the guy comes up when the Doctor's like, "We need gold," and then Daniel's comes with that really crap watch. Like, "Here you go."
Yes, gold.
Yeah.
I also the one where it's like, "You're under arrest." Yeah, I'll just get into this police box and arrest myself.
Yeah. I do like the bit where they get back to Earth and the Doctor makes sure that everybody's okay. Like he even says to Magumbo, he says, "Those two lads over there, one needs a job and one's just lost his job. They'd be quite handy."
Yeah, they're good in a crisis.
It's cool to see them again. I'll just name drop them.
Give them. They should have got the bus.
Yeah, they should have really.
Imagine if Lady Christina's about to run into the bus and the door's closed and there, and it's like, "Sorry, we've got adventures to have."
Why does the Doctor let a criminal go free?
Because she kissed him.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the lady who can hear the voices. I got somewhat excited and emotional because it had been a while in Doctor Who, well, since I heard anybody say, "Your song is ending now."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that line ran through my childhood like a cold dagger, with knowing what was coming and knowing what it meant, but also hoping it was Russell meaning something else.
Even though we knew at this point. I'm sure we...
we definitely knew.
That David was leaving.
Because he said that when Doctor Who returns, it's going to be without me. We're going to do a series of specials. So.
Yeah. And like we get that really cool, just dramatic beat of like the zoom in on David's face.
Yeah. And then you get the cool Next Time trailer. Did you see that?
Yes.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. I'm really looking forward to doing Waters of Mars, I say, in our episode about a different episode.
So, out of I'm bringing it back, Why Don't You Just Die or Absolutely Fantastic from Series 1 our ranking list, where are you putting Planet of the Dead?
I'm gonna put it in. I'm just trying to think of a good Chris Eccleston quote.
I think it's just above.
Just above.
Why what you just done?
What would that be? Would that be for you another stupid 8?
Yeah, probably, yeah. That'd be quite good, that one, yeah.
All right, that's for you.
Quiz time, Harry!
You, not me. I hate being patient. Patience is for wimps.
Oh, heck.
Nobody saw that. Harry did the most half-assed reaction ever. Basically lifted his arm up and leant back a little bit. Oh, heck. Why won't the Doctor eat the rest of his Easter egg?
Sugar, his teeth.
Yes, he wants to keep his teeth on. Tickety tick tick.
I mean, he doesn't have much longer now.
What's the emergency code for units? You can imagine Lady Christina said that. You're gonna die soon, so eat this egg. Dick.
What's the question?
What's unit's emergency code?
Is that different from the code red?
Yeah, you see the guy who goes, "We need unit." Da 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 da. What does he say over the da 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 da? What's the code for unit?
You say, "Shit, we need unit, bro."
Emergency code 1.
Oh.
What's the name of the pizza place that the Doctor calls?
Pizza Geronimo.
Do you think that's a reference to Matt Smith? Do you think they knew?
Do you think
Because it will have been.
I feel like Russell will have seen the script because we know that kind of Moffat was in pre-production for Series 5, so probably would have already written Mass Regeneration.
Yeah.
So I think that probably was a direct reference, yeah.
I've already said this. What are the lovely couple at the back of the bus going to have for tea when they get home that night?
Chops and gravy.
Hooray! 3 out of 4. Well done, Harry. On an episode in particular, you did quite well.
I watched it this morning.
Oh, congratulations. Do you want to recommend some shizzle?
Before I go, I just want to tell you you were fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to recommend a really, really obscure show. I don't think you'll have heard of it.
Is it Succession?
No, it's Squid Game.
Oh, for God's sake, go on.
Have you not seen Squid Game?
No.
Honestly, it lives up to the hype.
Actually, are you watching the dubbed version or subtitled version?
Subtitled.
Good boy.
And make sure it's not closed captions. Regular English, not English closed captions.
Okay, what's the difference?
Closed captions uses the dialogue from the dub, whereas whereas regular English is closer to what they're actually saying in Korean. It's not exact.
Maybe you shouldn't be so ignorant. Just learn Korean.
I'm sorry, Tim. That is my bad.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Carry on.
But no, like, I'll admit, I was skeptical when I heard about this show. I was like, oh, biggest show ever on Netflix, because I'm always skeptical about things that go big because I'm edgy and full of myself. But no, it absolutely lives up to the hype. It's really, really good. If you haven't got on it, just as a matter of some kind of like, ooh, I don't watch popular things, watch it. It's good. It's really good. What puts me off stuff like this, and it's the same with The Boys on Amazon, is people telling me to watch it. I hate it. You hate people who tell you to watch things.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is ironic for...
Tim, don't fucking watch Squid Game, for the love of God.
It's like
anything but Squid Game.
I've known Harrison for 2 years, and over the last 2 years, he's done nothing but try and convince me to watch The Boys. Oh. And that's now annoying me so much that I know I won't like it.
Okay, I won't hollow you a Squid Game. I'll say I really, really liked it. The rest of my family really liked it. Like, everyone I know who's watched Squid Game really likes it.
The only thing that I would like to watch is Succession.
So yeah,
because it's not one of those things that's always in the papers or online, and it's not pushed a lot. But from what I've heard in casual conversation, it's a fantastic show, and it's written by people I really like.
Yeah, it's written by the Peep Show guy.
I'm not sick, but I'm not well, and I'm so hot because I'm in hell.
You know what really disappoints me? Harvey Danger is on Spotify, but Flagpole Sitter isn't.
Is it not?
No,
it is.
No, Flagpole, not the original. The original Flagpole Sitter by Harvey Danger isn't on Spotify.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I tried to add it to my playlist and I can't find it. There's covers, but the covers just don't do it.
Vincy Sunlight, yeah. Oh no, here it is.
Harvey Danger, 5-pole sitter. Is it definitely Harvey Danger?
Let's have it.
As soon as I get home. Oh, wait, can we get like a copyright strike or something?
Nah, not now.
Oh yeah, we don't make money.
Yeah.
As soon as I get home, I'm putting that on my playlist.
There you go. I'm gonna is that anything else you want to say about Squid Games?
You've probably heard plenty about it already. And also, if you've somehow, by some miracle, avoided spoilers, I'm lucky enough that I did because there's some cool twists and also, who survived and who doesn't and all that.
I was going to watch Merlin, but that got spoiled for me yesterday.
Really?
Yeah.
But that isn't like the very end.
Yeah.
The very end has nothing to do with the rest of the show.
Yeah, no, but I saw me watching the full thing going, oh, I know what happens to this character.
Oh. So you can recommend instead? You can recommend that Stephen Merchant show?
Yes, the Outlaws. I think that's what. Yeah, the Outlaws. Yeah, I thought it was called the Outlanders, but that's something else. Stephen Merchant, the other half to Ricky Gervais's comedy duo behind the masterpieces, the masterminds behind such British shows as Extras, The Office, and the award-winning Ricky Gervais podcast.
All right, Screen Rants.
Steve's got his own show called The Outlaws. It's on BBC One Mondays, 9:00. It's an hour long, which is great because I think the BBC advertised it as a comedy. And I looked on Twitter and it was 50-50 split on people saying this show is not funny, but I think they were led on by the promotional material where it's an hour long as opposed to a half-hour sitcom. It's an hour-long comedy drama, and it's got Christopher Walken in it. Doing this Walken thing.
Oh, are we bringing out the generic Christopher Walken impersonations?
Did you notice how he was too sick earlier on to do his Ringo Starr? But fucking as soon as Christopher Walken comes on, he'll do that.
Christopher Walken and Ringo Starr. I have to actually think to do Ringo Starr.
Do Ringo Starr doing Christopher Walken.
Okay, I can't get in my Ringo. Thomas was huffing and puffing down the track. Hello, it's me, Christopher.
Do Christopher Walken doing the narration for Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas was huffing and puffing down the track. He was causing much confusion and delay.
This is the only thing I've ever seen him in. The first thing I've seen him in.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen people do impressions of him. And then when I heard him speak, I was like, holy shit, it's incredible that's...
The thing that I love about Christopher Walken is the way he speaks to us, it is such kind of an unfamiliar and perhaps could come across as a natural thing. But something about the way Christopher Walken acts is so captivating.
Yeah.
Like he has a real presence. And when he speaks, you are listening to him and listening to what he's saying. It isn't just a weird curiosity like someone like, say, Tommy Wiseau from The Room is. Like Christopher Walken, he's a really good actor still.
Yeah. And he's great in this, and everyone's great. There's a great ensemble cast of pretty much sort of unknowns, really.
Yeah, who the hell is Stephen Merchant?
But you know what I mean?
I know.
And Steve doesn't really, he's not a big player in it. He's not the main character. There is, the main characters are two young people in the show. I mean, Steve's brilliant in it. If I had one criticism, I would maybe say episode 2 is a better introduction to the show than episode 1.
Okay.
Episode 2 builds on some of the backstories of episode 1, and I don't necessarily think you would need to see episode 1 to see episode 2. Episode 1 and 2 are now available on BBC iPlayer, but I imagine that next week they will show episode 2 on the telly. Mondays, 9:00 BBC. It's really good. And I really like Steve Merchant. I think he's a really good writer, and it's also directed by him as well.
All right.
Have you seen Fighting with My Dwayne Johnson?
Fighting with My Family?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Have you heard The Rock's new rap song?
It's quite good.
Here's the thing is,
I had it on TikTok.
My problem with it
is sounds like an outtake from Moana, or whatever it's called.
Moana.
Yeah.
Here's the point thing. The song is about, I say, 3 minutes long. The first 2 and a bit minutes are different guest rappers Dwayne Johnson only raps the final verse.
Well, do you remember when Idris Elba had that song out? Didn't he? Not that long ago.
I didn't hear that. I knew about that.
And that was quite similar. When it's other people, then he sort of does a bit on it.
Yeah,
I think maybe that's a good way to start.
But the thing is, but then it says the song is like it said it's The Rock. Like he's the creator's the main person.
That's just to sell it, isn't it?
I guess. The thing I find is very interesting because him rapping is basically his wrestling. Wrestling is like smack talk with a beat behind it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But it's basically kind of like it doesn't flow, but sometimes it really does. Yeah. So I feel like, it shows promise. I'd listen to more.
Shall I have a quick look on the internet to see if we've missed any Doctor Who news before we wrap this one up?
Okay.
No, they've just done a tweet.
Oh.
Doctor Who Flux cancelled. I hate it when they do these. Just little graphics, little fun graphics that don't mean anything really.
They got to keep that presence.
Yeah, let me just have a quick look on BBC News Entertainment and Arts, see what's going on there. Happy Valley to return for a third and final season. I don't ever remember it returning after its first series.
Happy Valley, is that one with Sarah Lancashire?
That one.
Yeah, that people, my mum and brother love that. I haven't watched it, but they love it.
Let's have a look, see what's going on comicbookmovie.com. Anything at all? Spider-Man No Way Home might not feature all the Sinister Six after all. Possible spoilers. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness star Benedict Cumberbatch confirms another round of reshoots. Oh dear.
That's not. Don't all films have reshoots?
They do. So I hate it when people like Josh Wilding from Comic Book Movie News slate stuff like that. Try to call him out.
Guys, do you know what else had reshoots? Deathly Hallows. Remember what atrocity that was? No one. Because I remember it being in the news that the Deathly Hallows had reshoots.
Jodie Whittaker considered going back on her Doctor Who exit plan. Come back next week.
I'm guessing that's a deceptive title.
So bye everybody.
Bye.
Make sure you subscribe to the official Bigger on the Inside podcast.